everybody, welcome back to my Let's Play. So this is right where we left off in the previous video. As always, as is my usual kind of protocol, except when I have to like edit things out, but you know how it is. So I'm kind of looking at, I don't know, I think my latest guilty pleasure, not guilty pleasure, but my latest hobby is looking at this Five Nights at Freddy's business. I've not played the game myself, but I've seen a few videos of it, and it looks kind of interesting, very simple in concept and yet kind of intricate at the same time. So I don't know if I would ever play the game, to be honest, because like I said, I don't really do a lot of, you know, kind of Steam games, that sort of thing. In general, I don't do a lot of PC games, even though admittedly I do see that they're a lot of fun. I'm a diehard console fan, so that's, you know, it's kind of like old habits die hard. I just prefer playing games on my console, and I've tried. It's not to say that I haven't tried playing games on a computer, whether it's PC or Mac, it doesn't really matter, but it's just kind of like it doesn't really feel intuitive to me. So it'll be interesting to see. As a matter of fact, I don't know if Five Nights at Freddy's is strictly a kind of a on the computer, or is that eventually going to be ported to one or a number of the consoles. I don't know, but I am intrigued by it. I'm certainly entertained by a lot of people who are doing Let's Plays of the game, and I mean, there are a few in particular that I'm really impressed with because it can be kind of intense, that game, from what I've seen, and yet there's some people that can, you know, they do get frightened by it, but they can still maintain enough composure to really understand what's going on and still be able to beat the game, or, you know, beat particular levels in the game. So I'm pretty impressed. The fact of the matter is, for me, I can admit that I'm the kind of player that I'd probably get a little too flustered to actually develop a strategy for the game. It's just kind of it's definitely a shortcoming of mine. So,
Really?
like I said, I strongly doubt, strictly from the fact that I am a console gamer, that I would ever really play that game. But even if I did, that would probably be the result. Disastrous. So, I don't know, I'm definitely curious about it. But another thing is that I really like pixelated horror games in general. Like, I've played a little bit of this game called Home, and not to get into too many spoilers in case you guys are playing the game or are curious about the game, but I definitely really liked it a lot. I didn't really understand the story about it, the story behind it, but definitely intriguing. But like I said, I do have kind of a preference for pixelated horror games. I just really like them a lot. So think Home, think Lone, is it Lone Survivor? I think that's the name of the game, which originally I did play on PC, but I didn't, then it wound up getting ported to the PlayStation Network, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, it's not that I've not played PC games, it's just I prefer console games.
Hey, look, about Tess. I don't even know what
Here's how this thing's gonna play out. You don't bring up Tess. Ever. Matter of fact, we just keep our histories to ourselves. Secondly, don't tell anybody about your condition. They think you're crazy, they'll try to kill you. And lastly, you do what I say, when I say it. We clear?
Sure.
Repeat it.
What you say goes.
Good. Now there's a town few miles north of here, there's a fella there that owes me some favors. Good chance he could get us a car.
Okay.
Let's get a move on.
In reality, it's been a while since I played episode 7.
Yeah, it'll be faster to go through here.
Man.
What?
Nothing. It's just... I've never seen anything like this.
You mean the woods?
Yeah. I walked through the woods. It's kind of cool.
What I like, another thing, kind of another aspect that I really like about this game is, so Ellie is 14 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
If she was up to the task, why'd she drop you off on us?
And
Kid, I don't mean to upset you, but your friend's chances of survival weren't too high to begin with. It don't matter. Because I doubt I can get either one of us back into the city in one piece. Trust me. I wish there was some other option.
so as I was saying, Ellie is 14 years old, and this outbreak has been about 20 years old. And so Ellie doesn't really know the world before the apocalypse. And I've always found that a very interesting topic. With most, not all, but most zombie themed movies and things like that, it's always like you're following an adult, and it's kind of a short-term thing. Oh, it's just a movie, so it's a 90-minute long foray into the zombie apocalypse. So you never really get to see those intricacies.
Fireflies. I mean, real fireflies.
Yeah, I see that.
For example, suppose this is a long-term thing. What happens to people born after it? So
Get up here, I'll get a look.
they would never know what the world was before the zombie apocalypse. Yeah, well, yeah. Before this plague hit. They, so I've always found that really interesting, and I like that they did it here, and I think that they do it pretty well. It's mostly through kind of Ellie's dialogue, a little bit of exposition, that sort of thing. So, but I think that's necessary. I find it pretty intriguing. And my favorite other zombie themed story to compare this to, the usual The Walking Dead. You have the same thing. And that, like I said, that's something that I really like. That's why I really tend to gravitate towards this game, for example, because it's almost like, wow, let's really take an in-depth analysis about what, not just, hey, there's a million zombies we have to deal with, but also, how does it affect people? How does it affect their mental health, for example? How does it affect the person who was born after it? So who, like I said, who has no knowledge of what the world was before? What about people that are kind of weak and have to rely on other people? Like, there's all these sorts of questions. So it's not just, hey, there's a bunch of badass people that somehow were able to survive and survive against some really, really high some really like low odds, basically. And I really like that a lot in this game, in the story behind this game. And I mean, pretty much that's 90% of my Let's Plays. I just kind of praise this game. I mean, gameplay wise, to be honest, to be completely honest, to be completely frank, there's games that are a little more fun.
Huh? Different places.
You've never been here, have you?
I know this is where he lives, but no, I ain't never been here personally.
And that smoke, you think that's him?
Sure as hell better be.
Well, let's go check it out then.
There's games that are a little less, there's some repetition in this game, that sort of thing, but you can tell they really, really spent a lot of time kind of analyzing how would a person react to a situation like this, like a real person,
Out
like,
here.
not a
Watch your step. It's a good drop.
not an invulnerable, you know, kind of superhero type thing. And I think that that's where Resident Evil really falls short. You can tell that in some of the Resident Evil games, or some moments in the Resident Evil games, they really do try to emote certain things, but they really do try to emote, but that it doesn't work. Like, it's just, it feels forced. Like, it feels like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this should be sad, but it's really not, because I was not invested in this character. This character wasn't believable enough, or it just, the whole situation wasn't believable enough. So, and just based on where it looks like the series is going, it really doesn't look like that's a priority for them either at this point anyway. So, but it's like little moments like that. It's Ellie trying to whistle, for example. And what I like also is that Ellie has these little quirks about her. You'll hear her randomly humming a song every once in a while, and I don't know if that's to kind of like keep herself calm or keep her mind occupied, keep herself entertained. But it's like, wow, somebody really sat down and thought about that. They thought about, hey, this is something that maybe a 14-year-old girl might do in a situation like this. And so it'll be interesting to know how long it took to develop this game and what kind of research they did in terms of, psychology or something. Oh, enemy here. It's been a bit of a while since I've seen an infected person. So let's see if I still have what it takes to take it down. As a matter of fact, it was kind of interesting that in that previous area, the one with the spores, there was actually really no infected enemies there. There were bodies, but there were no infected enemies to deal with. So let's finish taking care of this enemy. Is that... I can't even tell if that's a clicker. It looks kind of like a clicker, but... Oh god, there's another. Oh dear. Oh boy, that's really why I want to get that Shiv Master skill acquired, just to kind of put that particular concern at ease, if you will. So what's that? Alright. So let me see if I can craft anything. Like I said, that's a thing that I really like a lot in this game, is that whole crafting kind of element to it. So in addition to the melee weapons you can pick up, which you can modify some of those, you can also create some additional offensive weaponry like the Molotov cocktail, which is very useful, I must say. Alright, so I'm really hoping that I don't get lost again. There was a previous video where I had to edit out a good 5 or so minutes because I couldn't tell where I needed to go, but this looks like the right way.
Jam from the other side.
Here, boost me up.
No, that's not such a good idea.
Well, I can't boost you up. How else are we gonna open it?
All right.
She raises a good point, Joel.
Give me your foot. Now, just open it. Nothing else.
Sure thing.
And like I said, that's another thing Resident Evil falls short on, is making sure that the characters are not annoying.
Let's see.
And I think that that's just bad writing. It's just like, characters really don't act like that. They're not that obnoxious. Real life people. Some real life people. Then again, maybe some people are annoying. I've really run into some characters in real life, like in my actual life, that sometimes I look at them and I'm just like, are you
So let's say we get a car from this buddy of yours.
are you for real?
Then what?
Well, then we go find Tommy.
Marlene said he's your brother?
And more importantly, he was a Firefly. He'd know where to take you.
Okay.
He lives far from here, which is why we need the car.
Okay, so there's quite a few areas to explore, things to pick up. So I'm just gonna see. Should be plenty of supplies to kind of pick up and help me in my journey. So I will continue this endeavor in the next video. Alright, until then.